How's it going, everyone? My name is Stephen Joyner. I am the owner and operator of Dogwood Handcrafts. Some of you may know me by my Reddit handle, Stephen with a PH. I'm here today with a very special first impressions video I have received from Declaration Grooming, my brand new B5 batch 5 shaving brush, the handle made by me and sent to Scott for nodding. It came in this box. Per the manufacturer's instructions, I've done what I usually do and put the brush into a warm cup of water to kind of do an initial softening and maybe cleansing. So I put that in before my shower. Just had my shower, so I'm like wet and, you know, completely naked and everything. So get this pointed at me here. And so I'm going to go ahead and decant the brush from the water. And this is good stuff, actually. There's a lot of like protein and keratin from the brush. You don't want this to go to waste, especially if you're trying to bulk up like I am. It is a little warmer than I like my brush water normally. It's kind of a nice musky aftertaste. And the brush is a little wet dog smelling, but that's okay. So this is a 24 millimeter. That has this cool coin in the bottom that I put in, and this is made to be like a sister brush to this one, which is my B4 brush. This is the B5. So this is a 26 and this is a 24. The loft on this new one is right at exactly 50 millimeters, and on this one is right at about 55. So I'm expecting this one to potentially be comparable in terms of backbone, but we're gonna see. Scott's initial thoughts on the batch were that it's comparable to B2, and I have used all previous 4 batches, so I'm gonna see if I have a similar experience. I'm gonna be using Chisel Face Midnight Stag, which is my standard brush testing soap because it's my favorite, the one I have the most experience with, and so okay, that water's not sitting very well. The one that I am just most comfortable with, so. Now, although I'm certainly a, actually, I'm going to do some of this on here just so I can get some more feel of the brush on it. Yeah, so right away I noticed there's not a lot of, I would not describe it as a lot of backbone. Definitely less than the 4. Less than 1, obviously less than 3. And, but you know, I don't think it's as little as 2, personally. The 2 that I used was a 24. So for me, I mean, I don't have it with me here, so I can't do it side by side. But actually, this is, yeah. Now, I did, in order to like, because for those that don't know, Scott has a very extensive quality control process where he combs out all the loose hairs from every knot, because not every hair takes to the glue when it's set. And so sometimes, I mean, as much as like 100 hairs will come out during this process when he does it. But it is extremely labor intensive and it takes several hours to do. And so when I get brushes from Scott and when people that I know do it, they'll ask him to forego the process, and then we just do it ourselves. And basically, if you just, you know, palm lather the brush and pull up with no, not lather, but palm rub it with water, and then just you can tug on it gently, and that'll pull out any of the extra hairs. So that's what I did. And I've had maybe 10 come out. I mean, because he didn't comb mine at all. So I expect to see a few, but it's really not the end of the world. So the feel on the face of this, I mean, it feels like almost nothing is there. It's like I feel that you can see the splay on it is pretty wild for being a 24. I mean, that's close to 3 inches of splay. It's really, yeah, it's really interesting. It is a lot like 2. The softness is maybe identical. Like, really, there's no... I have a very, very sensitive neck, which is the only part of my face that I shave right now. And the softness is such that I don't feel any of the brush on my neck in the way that I do with, like, a V3 or a Yaki, Maggard, Sterling, whatever Badger, or even my 4 on, like, on the later pass. I really don't, like... I really don't feel much of anything. And I mean, this soap is like, it's cushioning, but it's like, you still feel the brush, you know. So far on the first initial lather, I don't feel any irritation, so I'll go through the rest. I'm using my Wolfman WR1 on a WRH7 with my custom engraving. It's a .74 millimeter straight bar with a Pulse Silver Super Iridium blade. And the hair on my neck grows this way, so I go this way first. Alright, so far so good. Relather here. I get asked a lot, if I make shaving stuff, why do I have a beard? And you know, for the 3 years that I was working on straight razors, I never had a beard because I had to test every single one that I worked on. And the real estate of the face is very valuable. But with brushes, it's like, I don't test brushes but every few weeks or months when I get a new knot or when there's a new declaration batch or something. And so, like, I don't need to constantly be testing things on my face, and so I can have whatever facial hairstyle I want. And that's really all there is to it. But if someone is selling straight razors and they have a beard, don't buy one, because it means they don't test them. Goatee is okay, mustache is okay, but if like more than half of their face has hair, it means they're not shaving their whole face with each razor, and so they don't know how it feels. Just a little expert tip for you. This is really, really awesome though. I mean, I was worried about him when he said it was like 2, because 2 was not my favorite. I like the softness, but I like having some of the scrub in there. And because the concern for me with the lack of scrub is that it's harder to build lather. But I had an exceptionally easy time of this. I do have a couple. I've shed a couple, but again, this was not a combed brush, so that's to be expected. And so this is my with pass. This is my against pass. It's kind of interesting how radically different the 4 and 5 are from 3, because I mean 3 was very different from 1 and 2, but now we're back to kind of that 1 and 2 softness, less backbone, less scrub, scratch area. But Scott says he placed the same order 5 times with the factory, and they've sent him completely different things. That's kind of interesting. I mean, it's unfortunate that you can't get consistency, but alright, that is awesome. So no brush burn at all, which is exactly what I would expect from this. I'm just going to kind of rinse it out and do a kind of final impression of the thing. I think the loft on this is about where it needs to be. The loft on the 4s was a little high for me, but I mean, just from a total nitpick perspective, you know, like, but this one, I think if this one was any higher, it would be bordering on floppy. But as it stands, it's really not an issue. So there it is in the final bloom state. And here's a, let's see, here's the 4 for comparison. Here's a Maggard Badger 24 bulb for comparison. So I'm just gonna rinse the shit off, aftershave, and then final thoughts. Alright, so the Declaration Batch 5 Badger hair is super awesome. It worked extremely well with my standard gear. I didn't experience any sort of like brush burn, any kind of irritation. The backbone and the softness on the brush is most comparable to the Batch 2, followed by the 4, which is very similar to the 1, but if you like the 3, it is not like that at all, in that it is actually awesome. And in my opinion, Batch 3 is kind of the Star Wars prequels of Declaration brushes. There's people that like it, but they're largely misinformed and haven't actually seen the others. So it's, I think, a very apt metaphor. And but the 5, really fantastic. If you're a fan of soft, extremely luxurious. I mean, not scratchy whatsoever. And you know, obviously, a little plug for myself. I am making handles to send to Scott. So if you're interested in getting a Batch 5, but you can't catch one of the brush drops, then it's a, you know, affordable way to do it with a really quick turnaround time most of the time. You can catch me live streaming on YouTube almost every night on youtube.com/live/scjoiner if you want to watch me turn brush handles and have a grand old time. So shave score, 100 out of 100 for the Chisel Face Midnight Stag. Brush score, 100 out of 100, or maybe 5 out of 5 because it's Batch 5. There we go. Wolfman score gets a 0.74 out of 0.74. Bathroom score, 5 out of 7. It really needs to be remodeled. I got some kind of old tile in here, not a big fan of it. So let me know what you guys think when you get your B5 and what you thought of my expert impressions on it, which I'll catch you all next time. And remember, friends don't let friends shave shirtless.